welcome to the news update on AFRICUNIA television, reaching from the nation's commercial capital, Lagos, Nigeria. My name is Deborah Ezeh. Looking into the African scene today, we begin from Nigeria. The All Progressives Congress has resolved to sell its presidential form at the cost of 100 million naira. While the expression of interest form is fixed at the cost of 30 million naira, the nomination form costs 70 million naira. This was part of the decision ratified at the Emergency National Executive Council meeting held on Wednesday in Abuja. It was revealed that the House of Assembly expression of interest form would go for 500,000 naira, while the nomination form goes for 1.5 million naira. The nomination form for the House of Representatives will sell for 9 million naira, while the expression of interest form goes for 1 million naira, making the 10 million naira in total. Senatorial aspirants will purchase their expression of interest form at 3 million naira each, and nomination forms at 17 million naira each, making it 20 million naira in total. Governorship aspirants will have to part with 10 million naira for the expression of interest form and 40 million for the nomination forms, making 50 million naira in total. The national women leader of the APC, Betta Edu, has said women would get free forms. However, Marcus said women were only entitled to free nomination forms, but will pay for the expression of interest form at every level. But the high cost of forms was condemned by many Nigerians on social media, including members of the ruling party. They argued that it will prevent youth and disadvantaged groups from running for office. Now moving on, the telecommunication subscribers under the aegis of the National Association of Telecom Subscribers have said they are set to drag the federal government to court in May in a bid to temporarily suspend the government's barring of subscribers' outgoing calls. President of the association, Adeolu Ogunbanjo, disclosed that NATCOM was set to make or take the government to court by May if it fails to temporarily lift the ban. According to him, the association will be joined in a suit already filed by Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project against the federal government on the NIN SIM policy implementation. Ogunbanjo pointed out that even subscribers who had linked their NIN with their SIM prior to the directives were also blocked. He said the directive was unfair to subscribers, adding that its implementation had affected their businesses. And still in Nigeria, troops of the Multinational Joint Task Force has said it neutralized 27 Islamic states in West African province terrorists in collaboration with Air Task Force. It also says 6 traumatized female held hostage by the terrorists were rescued during a clearance operation. The Chief of Military Public Information Headquarters, Colonel Muhammad Dole, in a statement on Wednesday, said 1 soldier died during the operation. Meanwhile, the President, Major General Muhammad Buhari, retired Wednesday in Abuja, said the Boko Haram insurgency as neither religious nor ethnic underpinning, and with adequate education, majority of Nigerians now know the truth. The president spoke when he received the chief prosecutor of the International Criminal Court, Karim Khan, at State House, Abuja, saying that with concerted public enlightenment, it had become clear to the people that Boko Haram was a perversion of religion rather than Islamic ideology. Away from Nigeria, Côte d'Ivoire new Vice President Tiemoko Meyliet Kone took the oath of office on Wednesday before the Constitutional Council in Abidjan, a day after his appointment to the post, which had been vacant for nearly 2 years. On Tuesday, in front of deputies and senators gathered in Congress in the Ivorian political capital, President Ouattara announced the appointment as Vice President of Mr. Kone, Governor of the Central Bank of West African States since 2011. A new government is to be appointed this week by Prime Minister Patrick Achi, who was reappointed on Tuesday, 6 days after his resignation. It will be composed of about 30 members against more than 40 currently, in order to take into account the global economic situation and thus reduce state expenditure, according to President Ouattara. Still on the African scene, Togo's prison will reopen to the public on Friday for visits to inmates after 2 years of closure due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Justice Minister Pius Kokovi Abetome announced on Tuesday. Inmates in the West African country have been deprived of visiting rights since April 13, 2020. According to the authorities, this was part of the plans to protect inmates from the risk of contamination from outside. Thus, visits to prisoners by relatives, friends, and civil society organizations are once again authorized as of Friday, 22nd April 2022. Visitors will, however, be allowed on condition that they present a vaccination pass or an authentic PCR test dating back less than 72 hours, with the compulsory wearing of a protective mask. Togo, which detected its first case of COVID-19 in early March 2020, has recorded a total of 36,969 cases, including 273 deaths, according to the official figures released on Tuesday. Away from the African scene onto the foreign scene, Chinese President Xi Jinping reiterated China's opposition to unilateral sanctions and long-arm justification in a speech on Thursday, without directly mentioning the West's punitive action against Russia for its invasion of Ukraine. China has repeatedly criticized Western sanctions, including those against Russia, but it has also been careful not to provide assistance to Moscow that could lead to sanctions being imposed on Beijing. Delivering a video speech to the annual Boa Forum for Asia gathering on southern Chinese island of Hainan, Xi warned that economic decoupling and pressure tactics such as severe supply chains would not work. Russia has insisted that Western government respects a 1999 agreement based on the principle of indivisible security, that no country can strengthen its own security at the expense of others. Now moving on, a top ally of President Vladimir Putin said Russian forces will seize the last main stronghold of resistance in the besieged city of Mariupol on Thursday, after Ukraine proposed talks on evacuating troops and civilians there. Mariupol will be the biggest city to be seized by Russia since it invaded Ukraine 8 weeks ago in an attack that has taken longer than some military analysts expected. Seeing over 5 million people flee abroad and turn cities to rubble, Ukraine Defense Ministry was not immediately available for comment. Its general staff said in an early Thursday update that missile and bomb strike continued across the country. A few dozen civilians managed to leave the city on Wednesday in a small bus convoy, according to witnesses. In Shanghai, authorities said on Thursday tough restrictions will remain in place for now, even in districts which managed to cut COVID-19 transmission to zero, as the number of cases outside quarantine areas across the city rose again. The sober assessment came after health officials earlier in the week had fueled hopes of some return to normal by saying the trends in recent days show Shanghai had effectively curbed transmissions. Supermarkets would remain shut to shoppers, vehicles would not be allowed on road without approval, and only one person from each household would be allowed to leave home each day in some towns in Chongming, Deputy Governor Zhang Zhintang said. Shanghai reported 15,861 new local asthmatic coronavirus cases on Wednesday, down from 16,407 a day earlier. Symptomatic cases stood at 2,634, up from 2,494. There were 441 new cases outside quarantined areas, up from 390 a day earlier. Now, away from the foreign scene onto the sports scene, Tuchel was at a loss to explain why his Chelsea team made impossible individual mistakes in the 4-2 defeat to Arsenal at Stamford Bridge on Wednesday. The loss follows heavy home defeat to Brentford and Real Madrid, which were also belighted by individual errors from Chelsea's previously reliable defense. Searching for answers, Tuchel claimed the Stamford Bridge pitch is a problem for his side in reference to the opener, but also criticized the side for cheating problems from situations when they should have been in control. And finally, the Nigerian Football Federation (NFF) is waiting a ruling from FIFA on a $1 million compensation claim by former Super Eagles coach Rowe for unfair dismissal. Rowe was the Nigerian's longest-serving manager after taking charge in August 2016, was sacked in December just 4 weeks before the delayed 2021 Nations Cup kicked off in Cameroon. The NFF had agreed to pay Rowe's salary until the end of its contract, which expires in December 2022, but they went to football's world governing board to demand an additional sum for damages. Rowe's representatives were not available for comment, but the former Niger and Gabon manager confirmed he was seeking compensation. And that concludes the news updates on AFRICUNIA television today. To stay connected and updated to news and other programs, to follow all our social media platforms on Jointum, Pangram, Instagram and Facebook in their respective order. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel, like and leave a comment for us on the comment section. Once again, I'm Deborah Ezeh. Bye for now.